AeroTank Turbo time. So this AeroTank Turbo is Kanger Tech's newest product. Got her sitting on this Vapor Shark R and it dwarfs it. I mean, this thing is monstrous, a 30mm tank. But before we get into the nitty gritty, gotta go over the price point. Okay, depending on where you're buying this, retail this thing sells anywhere between $39 and $49, $50. Like I mentioned, it's a 30mm device, a whopper. Okay, made of 304 stainless steel. It's got an inner Pyrex glass tank, and this device holds 6 mils of e-liquid. 6 mils. You've got adjustable airflow. See those holes down here? Well, if you don't see them, you'll see them in the close-ups. But yeah, you have adjustable airflow. You got an adjustable airflow ring where you can close those holes off. You can go wide open, mid-range, closed off all the way. I mean, sky's the limit with this device as far as airflow. It has an adjustable 510 connection pin, and the reason why they call this AeroTank Turbo a quad coil system is because on the deck or the base it screws in 2 dual coil heads. You'll see it in the close-up. Okay, the packaging, it comes with 4 coil heads. Okay, 4 dual coil heads, 2 extra coil heads, and 2 already installed in this AeroTank Turbo. Okay, as you guys know, I've got it sitting on the Vapor Shark R. Got her vaping at 27 watts. With these 2 dual coil heads installed in this device, you got to vapor up, man. At least 22 watts and higher. I like prefer 25, 27 watts, sometimes even 30 watts. So yeah, I got her vaping at 27 watts. Got her wide open. Here we go. Chucks it for a tank. Airflow is, I mean, like I have this thing wide open right now. I mean, I'm getting a comfortable lung hit. It's not restrictive. It's a little bit past the restrictive. More on the looser side, but not too loose, not too airy. But guess what? I could close her off and just cover up one of those holes and have 3 open. Okay, here we go. I'm getting, I wouldn't say full on flavor, but I'm getting good flavor. And I do want to mention this, I'm using a thicker juice in here, okay? A thicker juice, meaning it's not going to wick as efficiently as something thinner. I've got an 80 VG 20 PG in here, and it's vaping okay. I recommend this to people, to vapors who vape thinner juices, okay? 50-50 blend and thinner. I have to close her off with this thicker juice, close her off, cover up those holes, and then get that juice to the wick into the coil, and then I'm good. I open her back up and I vapor. The vapor production is way more impressive than the flavor production. And you guys know me, I'm a flavor junkie. And the flavor, like I mentioned, if I were to have to rate it between a 1 to 10 scale, and RDA being like, you know, 8.5, 9, 9.5, 10, this would be ranked around, I would say, 5.5, 6. And when you put a thinner juice in here, like a 50-50 or even thinner, it does get better. The flavor gets better. You don't have to take as many primer puffs because it wicks more efficiently. Pro number 1, this thing, the way it's machined, the quality of the craftsmanship, super surprising. 304 stainless steel, weighs twice as much as this Vapor Shark R. It's a tank! The threads, all the threads, I mean, they're not super smooth, but they're super clean. There was no burrs and scratches. It reminds me of that I Smoke a Magoo, that review I did a while back. I mean, what was it, a year and a half ago? The machining reminds me of that. I mean, it's just super clean. If I were to have to rate this, as far as machining and quality control all combined, I would say it gets an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10, that's stellar. And that's a Chinese product, guys. That's something that's being outsourced, and they're making thousands of these bad boys. Super impressed. Second pro, airflow. Okay, it's got adjustable airflow. I can go wide open, wide freaking open. I mean, obviously, I'm not taking a hit, but I just want you to hear the airflow. I mean, you get tons of it. It's comfortable. It's a comfortable lung hit. I would say it's similar to something like a 2.5mm air draw off of an RDA. Wide open. It's got 4 holes. You can close up that 1, open up 3, open up 1 hole. Let me see. I'm going to open up 1/2 hole, and I'm going to take a mouth-to-lung inhale. Damn, those mouth and lung inhales always give me. It always tickles the back of my throat. But yeah, you could do it. You could do that mouth to lung inhale. I'm a lung inhaler, so I'll leave her, you know, the 3 holes either open or all 4 holes open, wide open. Next pro, this thing holds a ton of juice. 6 mils. 6 mils of e-liquid. And gotta mention this is another pro. It's got an adjustable 510 pin, so I can adjust it to fit, to make connection with all my mods. The threads of the 510 connection are buttery smooth, fits on all my devices, compatible, booyah. It comes with a K-Fun-like drip tip, okay? You can take it out, you could use all your drip tips, all the drip tips that you own, and all the drip tips that I own has been compatible, as fit, snug as a bug. Another pro I gotta mention, these coil heads have been consistent. All 4 coil heads, every 2 coil heads that I've used at the same time have been consistent, have given me consistent flavor. None of them have shorted out on me. Each coil head is 1.8 ohms. So when you pop 2 of them in together, it reads out to, it's supposed to read out to about 0.9 ohms. It's reading to 1 ohm. 1 ohm. 1 ohm with the 2 dual coil heads installed into this device. Now a few subjective cons. First one, this isn't a subjective con, this is a con to me. There's empty space. It looks like you fill it up all the way, but when you fill it up and you turn it up, right side up, it still shows empty space in the tank. These companies need to find a way to make it to where you don't have that empty space. You can fill it up all the way. So when you see it and you're looking at it and it's filled up, you see that it's full. It's fully full. And this next con is subjective. Okay, this thing is huge, man. This is a whopper. So for some of you guys out there that want something small, you're not going to like this. And then the next one, this is another subjective con. Anybody who's got a 30 watt device, you're good to go if you buy this. But if you don't have a 30 watt device and you buy this and you got something like a 15 watt or a 20 watt device max, you're not going to like it because you're not going to have enough power to push through those quad coils. So yeah, those are the pros and the cons for the AeroTank Turbo, this whopper of a tank. Let's go ahead and dive down. I'm going to show you guys how to disassemble her, how to fill her up, all that jazz, and we'll come back and wrap her up, and I'll tell you where you can get one of these. Here's the AeroTank Turbo box. Instructional manual. And inside, you got all your goods. You got your tank, whopper tank, and you got 2 extra bottom dual coil heads. So here she is, the AeroTank Turbo, and she is a whopper. Big ass tank, holds 6 mils of e-liquid. This thing is marketed to be made of 304 stainless steel. Here's your adjustable airflow, and you've got your AFC ring right here. And how it works is, to adjust it, you just turn the AFC ring. I mean, you can close her all the way off, open her up, wide open, 5 different air holes. 5 different air holes, guys. And this ring is, I mean, it's restrictive. It's a restrictive ring. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to spin in one place like a lot of these other tanks are. I really like it. 510 threads, buttery smooth, compatible with all my devices, variable voltage, variable wattage, mechanical mods. Oh yeah. It's got an adjustable 510 pin, stainless steel 510 pin. And here's the base, designed and manufactured by Kanger. And like I said, this thing holds 6 mils of e-liquid, a ton of e-liquid. Up top, you've got 2 knurl sections. Okay, here's the drip tip, K-Fun-like drip tip. Drip tip pops out. Then you got this piece up here, this top cap. This unscrews. Comes out like that. But yeah, you got those 2 stems which lead down to your coil heads. To unscrew the tank, all you got to do is turn this little ring right here. Turn it to the left. Slides out. Here's the tank section. Pyrex inside. It's got a stainless steel, 304 stainless steel shell. You got those stems in there which slide into the stems on each coil head. How it works is you unscrew it, and it's got a removable glass tank. So you could switch out glass tanks if one accidentally breaks on you. Inside there, you see that O-ring at the base, seals in the juice, sits below this glass tank. You got an O-ring up top, seals in the juice from up top, and then here are the 2 shafts which fit onto the dual coil head shafts. And then here's the base section. You've got this O-ring down here which seals in the juice as well. And then here are the 2 coil heads. Coil heads come out just like this. Okay, so they screw into the base. Now the base does not come apart. It's all one solid piece. So here are the 2 coil heads. Okay, each coil head is a bottom dual coil head, and each coil reads 1.8 ohms, as you guys can see right there. 1.8 ohms. So you pair these together and it's going to cut it down in half. Okay, so half of 1.8, it should read about 0.91 ohm. Okay, and up close of this coil head, and each one's identical. You got 2 holes punched on one side, 2 holes punched on the other. You got this shaft right here. Now the good thing about these coil heads is you can take this stem off pretty much with ease. It's a lot like the old coil heads as far as that. Inside there, you've got 2 coils, okay, one sitting on top of the other. So you got 1 coil, and then in between that, you've got a little bit of wicking, and then down below, you've got another coil. And then you've got liner that sits inside right by the edge in front of those holes on each side, and the juice feeds into that, and then that connects with the wick, and then it saturates everything, and that gets to your coil. 1 coil goes back in, screws into the base, Same thing with the other coil head. Assembling the tank section, drop the glass tank inside there, pop this section in, screw this section into the shell, and boom, you got your tank section all assembled. So once you have your tank section all assembled, next step you're going to do is fill this sucker up. And to do that, you fill the liquid all the way up to the edge of each of these two shafts. Slide the base in, and then I'll screw this ring to the right. Screw the top cap in, pop the drip tip in, close this down a little bit, this airflow, taking a few primer puffs, let the juice feed into those dual coils, and you're good to go. So that is the AeroTank Turbo. Let's go ahead and take her back to FaceTime and vapor some more. So that is the AeroTank Turbo. Where can you get one of these? Wet Vapes. Wetvapes.com. Here's a link. I'll have a link in the description as well. Right now they're selling this bad boy retail $39.99. Do I think it's a good deal? If Wet Vapes hadn't sent this to me for a review, would I have purchased it? And the answer is no. And I'll tell you why. I don't like 30mm tanks. This thing is whopper, man. This thing is wonky. Okay, I'm just not big on that. I like 22mm tanks. Here's the thing. Even clear-misers really don't turn my head. What's the point in me using a clear-miser? There's just no point for me. But for some of you guys out there that don't know how to build, rebuild, you want something big, you want something that holds 6 mils of e-liquid, okay, and you don't care how wonky this thing is, yeah, I think that you'll enjoy it. This is Rip Trippers, and remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is now.